this thing working? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. Oh, let's see here. Step back some. Dun, 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 dun. It's cold here. It's cold. I feel like I'm catching a cold. It's terrible. It's early in the morning and I got things to share with you. It's so cool. All right. Man, what the hell's wrong with this thing? Dun, dun, dun. Well, listen. Oh man, I apologize for all this. I was just talking with someone online or typing with someone, and they mentioned this Little Red Riding Hood story. And, it's just such an interesting thing because I've used this story before to tell a story. And, uh, well, it's the way I used to tell the story. But then all of a sudden, whenever I was telling this, because I wrote on it, because he was making it like, it's supposed to have been, you know, about a little girl going and then, someone taking advantage of her as she's going through the woods and things like that, and that you're not supposed to deal with strangers and things. This is what we're supposed to get out of this fairy tale. And, and this guy's a spiritual guy. It's that pockets guy, it's up his pockets. I always listen to him. He's supposed to be spiritual and, he's everything but spiritual. But I mean, we all want to be someplace, but he's got so much, he's pretty racked up. He's pretty intense. It'd be maybe someone would think that, Rick, you can't have it in you because you cuss, and you don't use a big G when you say God, it's when you write down the word God, But but then again, I think, as a teacher and stuff like that, I'm kind of supposed to be immune to that. I'm supposed to be able to teach just regular old people how to do this with ain't no pompous attitudes and or hierarchies and stuff like that. I'm supposed to be this little carpenter, this artist, telling it to you like it is. I live out here in this shit. I'm not going to all of a sudden be that clean dude, I'm going to be myself. And that's all this energy asks you to do. When you finally make it into it, it's like, it's for you. It's for you. All right? It's not for someone else. It's not for your neighbor. It's not for your mom and dad. Let me tell you, I don't think it makes them proud, I don't know what kind of other, outside worldly goods you can get from this because, I'm already feeling that, whenever it comes down to who do you think you are? I'm just someone that teaches, just like I'm an artist. I teach people how to paint. Why do people come to my art class? To learn how to paint. Who would they come to find out who to do this with? A really cool guy that knows how to paint and is real good at teaching. And then I share the knowledge. So don't get mad at me. You don't get mad at someone because they have some kind of a talent, But anyways, it's just that this talent, can wind up getting you in trouble, What do you do when you tell people that hey, can you tell if I'm saved or not? And I said, well, I can make a really good guess, But but if you don't want that kind of answer, what the fuck? Why ask it? So but I could say, this is what you have to do it, and you say, oh, that's just a bunch of crap. That's some pseudoscience. Well, all right, great. I just told you the truth, and it's a lie to you. I do that all the time. I tell people the truth all the time, but it's a lie. So I can't help that. I can't help that. But listen, we're tearing apart this Bible, man. We are tearing it up. Oh my God. That code system is just the craziest shit on earth. But back to Little Red Riding Hood. This idea in the world, if you were to take the world itself, a circle, all right, and turn it into a clock, all right, you already know that spring and summer are going to be the two top quarters, right? And the bottom half is going to be fall and winter, all right? And then again, it comes back around. It's the sun going around the earth, all right, or earth spinning, all right? Let's straighten up some of the science. But anyways, in this model, what you have is you have fall at Libra, and then you have morning, or spring is April. All right. So it's that swing between Libra and the winter solstice, and that place down in midnight. At midnight, this is where all that shit happens picked in our stories. All right. Because that's where the Christ dies and then is reborn. If he's been captured into the winter solstice, he's allowed out, reborn. But now it's winter time, and every day gets brighter as he lives. This is how it goes until it gets up to the summer solstice, and then everything gets shorter because it's cancer. He's going to say his time for his fall is coming up, but he gets exalted in Leo. That's it. It starts all over again. But it's the beginning. It's the beginning. It starts off from Libra, and then from the Virgo. She's that one in the middle. She's that last one in the scene. But she's the beginning of our conscious drive for a higher conscious. It has to start off with a virgin mind. It has to be born out of a virgin, and so it runs into Libra. Fall. This is it. This is where the fall comes in. And of course, Scorpio's in there with the backbiting and the kiss. You give away me with the kiss of death. All right. Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, that doesn't mean you're dead. That means you're walking through that shadow. You're the shadow. You're in the valley. You're on your way up to the mountain. You're up in the high. And that valley is the chakra system. That's our works. So anyways, in the story of Revelation, when the virgin is given birth and the little red dragon is sitting there just waiting to get it, right? But it slips right past him, goes on up into the hands or into the throne of the Lord, and the woman is skirted off into the wilderness and given wings. All right, now listen. What I used to say and think was, this was just fall and winter. So the nightfall, when nightfall would come, what you would get is nightfall would be the wolf. It's big, just great big giant wolf or whatever it is. It also means winter time. This is all nighttime, the dark side. This is the down under. This is This is where we pass as we're dead, all right, as we're going through our conscious change. This is the direction that we go into, all right, the valley, whatever. All right, so what happens is the earth winds up being the grandmother, and it's swallowed up by this darkness, because it's also dark. It's the same path for nighttime, from dawn, from dusk to dawn. That same area. That's Beauty and the Beast. They can never really ever come together. It's the same as like Romeo and Juliet. But the idea is still there, that this little son has to try to get from this place over to that place without dying, and it can't. In this story, it's gobbled up by in the winter solstice. It dies. It has to. But it is reborn again, but it's still in winter. So anyways, it takes till the hunters come in the story and and let them all free, and that's April, and that's morning when they wake up. I'm wondering if anyone's hearing any of this stuff, or if it sounds like I'm just more of that, So it's just really cool, but it reminds me so much of that story. So what it is I was saying, it's a shame. While I was in there, it just came, wow, this is that story from Revelations when the baby's supposed to get through there. But in reality, what it is it's when Jesus and that thing comes down, that energy picks them up. This idea that when winter comes, or when spring comes, spring is the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world. Sin in those days was the dark side. That's always the scary part, and winter. And so with the sun in its right place, on its right ascension, becomes this new life, this new green, this new life comes out of nowhere. And in our dream, or in our dream sequence, or in this meditation sequence, what you get is This is you meeting Jesus in the air, and it's taking you. This this monster is coming up with you because it's you. It's nothing else. It can be no one else and nothing else. It has to be you. It is you. You're this beast. You're this monster. But it's going up with the Lamb of God, and eventually it's going to go over here and get burned out. The dross will be burned from you from this, and that's when you finally make it over into Leo. But this was a conscious drive of this human being to connect both mother and father together and obey the law, all right? And to fulfill the prophecy that there would be someone coming in the future that will save the world. That is you when you finally wake up. You become this guy, this woman, this person who now has an entirely whole different outlook on everything, you know? And every day you learn more things, and every day it gets better, you know? You just like they say, to try to separate from this outside world. And we learn it from Buddha, and we learn it from Krishna. And these, I'm going to have to say, are not live peoples, you know? The deaths that happen, and the, you know, the torture and the murder does not have to play out to tell this story. If you want to catch someone like the outside, we know that now that we have what's seen and what's unseen, what's matter and what's inside of us is spirit, it's unseen. Our Bible is built of the same thing. What we see on the outside is a very carnal lifestyle, and a very hateful. God is very mean. God kills. God does all kinds of stuff. The devil in that book there hardly has any killings, all right? He's kind of the good guy. And that's kind of telling. But I would say that God is the heavy on that because he's had to cover for both sides. Everyone sees it as a he and not a we. But you see that the deception is out there, and you would say that anyone that is going to be on the outside, all parts of their body is going to deceive them. So it's really hard, you know, it's when I hear truth or community and stuff like that, oh, I want a part of the truth or community. They won't have me. They have to believe in God and all that shit and tell me that I'm not playing along, you know. Uh, you know, F you, you know, trying to keep it clean. Children should be allowed to come and read these things and hear these things. I think that I probably will change, at least cable ready, you know. Kids already have a pretty dirty mind. Or not dirty mind. We don't need to talk dirty mind, but you know, I was cussing when I was a kid. I was cussing like a sailor when I was a kid. I was always cussing. Somehow or another it just happens, you know. But anyways, not to get off track, you know. What do you get when you get out of it? You just become teacher. They want you to be quiet. I feel like I should be quiet. These last few days have been my, you know, like, you know, who needs to know that I know this? You know, who needs to know it? You know, who needs to know what this whole damn world does. My own group of people, being a queer, growing up under such hatred and such control from this, from the Bible, and then also having such knowledge of it in some way. And every day I learn more and more and more, and I show you more. I share it just as much as I can. How manipulating it's been to everyone and everything on this earth, and I can prove it by this code. This is not just, you know, this is some heavy shit, man. This is the background, the basis, and everything. We're unraveling it. The Bible is telling us, and eventually the background of all of this garbage that we're going through. Do you think that you hear this all the time? Do you think that they talk about this shit? Look, I can't get hardly anyone to it's just a, you know, listen, and I don't care. I know this is the path less traveled. It's not meant to be known, but here it is coming out at you, you know, trying to save the world, save my friends, save people that I know, you know. This idea that mankind and homosexuals and all of this craziness You know, I know that they're nuts right now, but you know what happened is you just let the lid off of these hornets, and they're just crazy. Everyone's nuts. No one knows shit. But for over 2, 3, 4,000 years, 6,000 years, you know, this band of fags and queers like myself have been bottled up and told not that we are hated and all this stuff. And you know, so society lets them free for their first time, but they're still under this, you're still hated, you're worthless, you know, you're abominations. You know, listen, that does shit to your brains. You have to understand that. It just does shit to your brain. So what do? You have to go somehow and have that cleaned out. I feel for all of my fans that, because no matter what, you either believe that or you don't believe it. And they say, well, I'm doing nice things. I think nice things. I do best. Hey, listen, I did that for church too. I was looking for Jesus. If I did nice things and I devoted myself to God, certainly, he'd stop from exploiting me like that, you know? Eventually, that's what it is. You're being exploited. Leonardo da Vinci and all those guys, they're big fags. Listen, they're real close to all these religious things and stuff like that. Believe me, it's extortion. It's extortion. But you know, when you're done being this whore, when you're done, you know, doing the works on the outside, then you do the works on the inside, and then you just kind of like, you know, first you go, oh my God, that was me, you know. And then, you know, and then you kind of laugh, you know, scared at first, but laugh. But then you just like, and now it's like, it's just a wonder, amazement, interesting. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I feel like telling people how to do it. I want to teach them. But it seems like they get the first things is just being mad. And I know I'm mad. That's not my Bible. And I said, well, what Bible are you reading? And find out it's one of these new ones. Oh, well, then, yeah, shit, you guys. Where do you get all this information? Hey, I got it from that wise woman upstairs. You know, I sat underneath the tree and fell in my lap like a ripe fig. That's how it happened. I don't know all the rest of that, but because even though I was present, I wasn't present, and so you know, kind of makes you out to be crazy. But in reality, what happens is I can prove it. All right, and I didn't have to go through a near-death experience or nothing. But I think I'm going to have to let this go because this is probably already super long. Let me see. I can't tell. Oh, it's only 17 minutes. All right, so we got a chance to go through something really fast. All right, I've gone through Genesis. All right, and I pulled out all the twos. I told you this a little while back. Twos in the code. Excuse me. Twos in the code is God's creation, what He made, and He made you. And when He talked about those 7 days, He's talking about our chakra system. When it goes on to 8 and 9, we go into 8 is control. That's a brand new you, and 9 is a higher conscious. All right. It also has an opposite side. It shows you separation. It shows you not joined. All right. You know, but in this number 2 situation, you're mother and father. You were made in His image, and that is the Elohim of male and female, and that's a higher and lower conscious. Just like the the science behind it is a polarized energy. Excuse me. Just as is our chakra system and in colors themselves, as in like what everything is made out of, right? At the lower side of this connected, polarized, that means there's an energy on one end and an energy on the other, and they are connected, but they are at opposite ends of each other. All right. This is like, if we can bring my arm down, that this is the Kundalini energy. All right. But in reality, it's like the balance of this and this, you know, between the right and the left side. Okay. The lower energies are red, hell, lower frequency. negative, the negative side. It's not negative. It needs to be a negative or electric doesn't work. The opposite side's more positive, and it goes up and up and up until you get into this higher frequency and higher range. Okay. This is her. This is he. When they become together, this is Israel. Israel. Even. Peaceful mind. Mother and father together. It's in the law. And we use Jesus the way to get there. All right. So that's us. That's us. You and me. That is us. Do you want to know what that means? Let's read up on this. I pulled the twos out of the Genesis stories. Oh my God. We're only going to go so far. We're going to tell the first story, the first part of it. And then it's going to get into 10, and that starts over again. And that 10, it starts off with all these names and names and names. And I'd like to find out all what those names mean first before I do that with you. But let's see if we can go through it. It's kind of fast. I don't want it to last forever. You know what? It already is. It's only 21 minutes. All right, so here we go. And the earth was without form and void. Okay, so 2, 11, 20, and 29. Most all of these are short, and so they'll only go to the 2, the 11, and the 20. All right? Occasionally 29. So what do we get? And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Water is always going to be the nicer side. Birds, things fly. All these things are going to be on that side. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass and herb yielding seed after his own kind. After his own kind. And the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. Number 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is on the face of the earth, and every tree, which in the fruit of the tree, which is in the fruit, the yielding tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. They're talking about the Kundalini. We're talking about that tree. That idea of the tree is also the tree of life. This idea of climbing that tree and getting up there. It shall be here for your meat. This is MEAT. This is a type of food or substance. Okay. And remember, we're the tree. All right. And on the seventh day, God ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all the work which he had made. He just had to repeat himself, right? The name of the fruit, name of the first is Pison. That is which encompass the whole land of Halava, where there is gold. All right, well, this is the number 11 in Genesis 2. I want you to understand that now we're in Genesis 2. It's going to be more about this brain part, this thing. Pison is winds up being one of 4 rivers that are fed or coming out of this Garden of Eden. All right. And this halava is that brings forth suffering, something that brings forth. Remember, we all have to come through suck. All right. something, and then we're the ones that we're the ones that have to give it up. All right. Let's see what else is on there. And Adam gave names to all the cattle to all the cattle, and to fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an help meet for him. All right, that's the end of that one. So, so listen, the female science about to be born. All right. But here we are at 20. When it says that Adam gave names to all the cattle, and it said, when it talks about the beast of the field, that's us. And so he's talking about a help meet for him. This is where help meet. Remember, he needs his kundalini. He needs his kundalini on, and so he could go to get this help. And remember, this would go for her wood when it comes down to make yourself an ark, so you can go for her wood, So all these ideas of wood. Here's chapter 3. 3 is going to be about, are you going to be joining up with this, or are you not going to be joining up with this? So that's what chapter 3 is, number 3. And the woman said to the serpent, that we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. All right. And he said, who told you that thou were naked? And have thou eaten of the tree that I commanded that thou should not eat of? And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. This is chapter 3, talking about, well, the serpent comes in, which is pretty cool, because, she's allowed to eat from the fruit. We're allowed to eat from the fruit. It's talking to the serpent. He's really talking to, it's the serpent that tells the truth in that story. God says, you're going to die if you eat from that. And he says, you're not going to die. You're just going to be like them. And that's what they want us to be, is like them. All right. And Adam called his wife. All right. So his wife, we're talking about Adam. They actually later on, you'd see that he called them both Adam. All right. So it's really, 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 really cool. All right. So here we go. And of course, the father that everyone out here is worshiping to is not the right, without mom. Ooh, shit. So father told you, I don't want you to eat from this. Do you see the story is already still in place, where these two, are already in a struggle, even with our maker. All right. Our maker has done this to us. So chapter 4 is coming in. Chapter 4 is about worlds. And Brahma, and the four-headed guy of the Christian and the Hindu faith. This is him. All right. This is the world, the four winds, the directions. It's about travel. It's about going from west to east. I'm coming from east to west. There's the fall. There's the rise. And there's sometimes just coming down because you have to come down. We can't live up there. Too much sunshine would burn us, and it just seems like hell is just a perfect place for all of us, We'll just keep all those motherfuckers down there, right? So let's see if we have anything that sounds like worlds or kingdoms. All right, that's because you're going from kingdom to kingdom, and you have to go through kingdoms to get to these things. So it's kingdoms. And she again bare his brother Abel. So this must be conversation coming from Eve. And Abel was a keeper of the sheep, but Cain was the tiller of the ground. Now, so just saying the word "but," like it's like an opposite, So he's the keeper of the sheep. So that it's really she gave birth. There's just one person here, and that's Cain. Cain is the tiller. Cain is the mind. All right. And he takes care. He does the dirt. God takes nothing from him. God loves nothing from this guy. Just like, like everyone says, oh, what happened to poor Adam? Well, he doesn't take anything from the physical. But through his tilling of the soil, does Abel show up. And so Abel is the one who watches after the sheep. So when he watches after the sheep, he's the messenger, he's the flyer, he's the one that goes between the two. He's taking up a feminine energy. But that's the way it is. It's one or two, these doubles, all these doubles. Like Solomon takes on the feminine role of this, all right, of the story. That was just how sexist everything was, probably. I don't know. I don't see why women were neglected of this, other than this was written from the mind. The mind rules over everything, and so that's a very male thing, and males having sex with males, and males loving males. This is you loving this lower mind and this lower side. That's all that's really talking about. So let's see. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which had opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. This really takes place. This is where the cursing comes. It's not coming from what Adam and Eve did, with eating of the fruit and all this. It's what their children did. When he killed Abel, he took away the connection between him and God, and that's what you get in trouble for. All right, and then it curses the earth. That this is it. He made her eat her. And we've learned in some of these stories, like, she's going to just sit back and laugh at you when you're in your trouble. Go let them. You don't believe in me. You don't believe in me. The person who's right there, knows you best, knows everything about you, but you seek that whore bitch on the outside instead of me. Let them take care of you. Go ahead. Enjoy them. We know very well mankind cannot save you. Only God can. All right. So that was really cool. Number 5 is going to be about our brethren. This is about the 5. This is huge. It's the skin, it's not just God made all this stuff, but this is pretty interesting things. 5 is about the body. Okay. All right. Male and female created he them and blessed them and called their name Adam. Called their name Adam. All right. In the day when they were created. And all the days of Enos was 9, was whatever. These guys that died, one's a 5 and one is an 8. So it's about control over the body. And let's see. And he called his name Noah, saying, this man shall comfort us concerning our works and our toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Lord hath cursed. All right, so we just learned about that curse. Okay. The work of their hands, right? The toil. This is this idea, the works. Okay. He's going to represent the Kundalini. It's coming into the scene now. This is like the beginning. This is the beginning. And the Lord's going to say things like, I've got this new covenant with you. With the world, this was Noah. Like in the days of Noah, when their new world comes in and stuff like that, they think that they're all going to get reaped. Hell no. It's just like in the day of Noah. It just came for him and his family. That's it. It's him and his kinfolk. That means only one person is saved at a time. All right. That's how it works. All right. So that's chapter 5 now. We're going into chapter 6. Chapter 6 is the works. The word. You and me are the word. Stuff like that. That's what's coming up. All right. What do we have? Chapter 6. Just wonder what the 2s in this one might sound like. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. It's the making of the fallen angels. All right. The earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. of fowls after their kind, and cattle after their kind, and of every creepy thing of earth after its kind, and of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. Those are the three in the first parts of chapter 6. 20 is talking about the gathering all this together. This is gathering of all the brethren. Let's see, it says, but gathering of fowls of their kinds, the cattle after their kind, and every creepy thing on earth after their kind, and every sort of something. Looks like we've got three. Oh, it's a three. Wow, my goodness. Bring all this stuff together. This sounds like a three. All right, so that's excellent. Still, that's the idea of going and doing the works. What have we got here? Saw the sons and the daughters, and they were fair. This is taking on the lower. This is when they change, when they go from being, loving mother and father to clinging on to wife, husband and wife. It's just taking on the lower. That's made the fallen angel. Plus, we were made to be fallen angels. We come into this lower conscious on purpose. It's a rite of passage. You have to go through hell before you can get to heaven. All right. It's just beautiful. The earth was also corrupt before God. So this is showing you that this is a downfall, but this is why we're going. This is a positive story, but just like just like being gobbled up by God, by the devil, or by darkness, by winter. We're going to be, set free from this noise. We're going to, if you found this way and observe the law, then you're on your way to cleaning all this shit out. All right. So 7 comes in, chapter 7. So chapter 7 should be like, the connection. All right. This is the seventh chakra. It's about the crown. This is where fire and brimstone and stuff like that starts hitting everything, and purification comes in. That's what this part is about. This is Delta Conscious reigning in. All right. Let's see what it says. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female. And that's of the clean beast. Remember, we have unclean beasts. All right. So one's the right side of our brain. All right. And of the beasts that are not clean, by two, the male and his female. So it's the same idea. We're all in this together. This is all about you. It's not about anybody or anything or other animals. Just you. Just you. Oh, something about in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, in the 7th day of the month, in the same day, were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. This comes down to the 600 and the 2 and the 17 and the 16. 7. That's what we're talking about. All right. So this is how you self-check all this business. And what do we have here? 15 cubits upwards did the water prevail, and the mountains were covered. All right. Has to go over the whole bit of you. This is baptism. This is, baptism by water. And that even went over the mountain. That's beautiful. That's number 7. So what do we get number 8? 8 should be like, now you're in control. This is, at the end of the Cinderella story, this is when, the coach is being pulled by 8 beautiful horses and stuff like that. All right. Let's see. 8. Usually there's food too. All right. Let's see. Number 2 says, the fountains also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. Let's see. The dove came unto him in that evening, and lo, in the mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and every clean fowl, and offered them as a burnt offering unto the altar. Oh my goodness, those are just 3 phases of consciousness, all right? Or the 4 stages of consciousness. But the idea is that he just saved all these animals, and now he's cooking them up and giving them to the Lord. That's why he brought these animals, so he could kill them all, sacrifice them to the Lord. Listen, that's not what that means, Remember, he's going to wind up on a mountain. This whole thing is a big, beautiful, juicy Kundalini story. The whole thing is one big, giant Kundalini story. The fountains of the deep. Remember, the fountains are supposed to be you. Fountains of life. That's you. That's this well that you would bring up from deep inside the earth. This is that well that's going to cleanse and cleanse and restore you back to your health and well-being and peace of mind. And it has to destroy the lower mind in order to do this. It has to clean up whatever it was that it was on. This idea of the fallen angels in this situation are being cleaned up, and they're being restored for the for the curse that was on this. It's taking the curse away from them, for their hands and their toiling and all this work that they put into it. This is what he's supposed to do. He's going to relieve the attention of all these people before him. It's just wonderful. Just wonderful. This idea of a dove coming, the dove ascending. This is when Jesus is baptized. The dove comes, descends down. This is mom claiming the child. All right. And here we are. We have a dove that comes in with the olive branch, and it says it plucked it from the tree. So he knows that the water has abated. All right. Just beautiful story. So let's see, chapter 9 should be a conscious thing, and then we quit. And the fear of you, and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the field, and upon every fowl of the air, and upon the something, upon the earth, the mouth upon the earth, and upon the fish of the sea. Does it say mouth? I'll say. In your hand they are delivered. It's beautiful. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off anymore by the waters of the flood. Neither shall there be any more a flood to destroy the earth. I had to say that twice, huh? And Noah began his husbandment and planted a vineyard. And all the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. That comes to number 5. All right, well, that's what the whole thing is about. Our body is this, he died then, all right? This is after he made it up to the top of the mountain and all these things, this idea. This was the 29th one. It ran for a good long time. He's found at the top of the mountain by his sons, which is the lower aspect, and they back in on him because they've seen him naked and drunk off the new wine. Oh my God. Scandalous. How stupid. How silly, how prude at the same time, But you understand, when these people get up on the mountain, when they make it up to the top, all kinds of crazy shit happens, You just may have sex with your daughters and not even know it, while they get you drunk off the wine. No one can really tell that all these stories, they're not connected in a way that this comes first and this comes second and all, so much as they keep saying the same things over and over again. It's just beautiful. I made it through to chapter 25. We're not going to do that to you today. There's 25 more chapters to get through that. But I'm hoping that you get this idea. This is how you tune your ear, and we learn more about what it means to be a 2. All right. I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to go through all those worlds again because sometimes I just don't understand them. It's the hardest of them all to really to grasp, and I want to figure out how to tell it just so. But basically, it's about traveling. But it also means, your kingdom as you are. It could be a 9 even showing up that says, your kingdom is shit. But it's a number 2's the right and left sides of our brain. It's what it says all through here. Adam, and that called us both Adam. We're Adam. We have Adam and Eve in here. And it's pretty cool. And it's interesting that that my mind's even updating old stories, like Little Red Riding Hood. Because all we want to do is make it past the night. I love you guys. That's where all the superstitions have come from. Just crazy, crazy stuff. But you guys, take care of yourselves, and blessings.